Well, Bev, this is the third time that rebels that are holding Philip Mehrtens have released a video to show that he is alive. And in fact, he gave about a 1-minute statement in that video saying that, yes, I am alive, I'm well, I'm eating well, I'm drinking, I'm living and resting with the separatist group that is holding him and has held him since February, and that he's moving around, travelling with them as required. That again suggests that every now and again they are trying to move location, no doubt to hide from the Indonesian military. But he did say that there have been bombs dropped in the last week, and he's told Indonesia, please don't do that because it could endanger myself and others. The rebels also released their own statement saying that they will only release the pilot through negotiations and not through any sort of military operation. Of course, just almost 2 weeks ago, we saw that reports of that ambush nearby in the remote Nduga region where rebels shot several soldiers. They killed about 5 soldiers. There were 36 soldiers, in fact, sent as part of a mission to try to rescue Philip Mehrtens. The rest of them, some of them were injured, about 4 people, but most of those soldiers did find their own way back to the base. But we have heard just in the last week that 5 soldiers were shot dead by the rebels. So if there was any truth to this suggestion that Indonesia has been dropping bombs in that area, that is hugely worrying. There was another hostage taking in 1996, including some of the family members or fathers of these current hostage takers. And in that occasion, hostages were held for 4 months, including some foreigners. 2 Indonesians were killed when Indonesian military forces did go in to try to rescue them. So if that was to play out similarly again, you have to wonder just, what danger, of course, after that recent ambush, what danger that would place this New Zealand pilot in.
Yeah. Have the Indonesian authorities responded to the claims that bombs have been dropped?
Well, I mean, it's a bit confusing because initially we were told, in fact, by one military spokesman that there had been a bomb dropped as a way of trying to contain these rebels in one area and not allow them to perhaps move on or escape from where authorities already know them to be. They then came back and said that actually, no, there had not been a bomb dropped. So we then asked, well, what was done that clearly, there seems to have been some sort of explosive device that has been dropped from the air. And then just very late this afternoon, we were told that this was all a hoax. What Philip Mehrtens says in that video was, in fact, a hoax. Now, he, of course, is no doubt being told what to say by the separatist rebel group, but it's difficult to know just where the truth lies in all of that.
Yeah. So to your point about the rebel group saying that they will only release him after, with negotiations, are there any negotiations still continuing? It became confused, as you said, after that ambush.
Look, whatever negotiations are happening seem to be happening potentially through a third party. There doesn't seem to be any sign of negotiations happening between the rebel group or even some of their spokespeople and Indonesian military. If they are happening, it's all behind the scenes and we're not hearing. I mean, right at the start, the rebel group said they would not release this pilot until Indonesia granted independence over the full Papua region. And it was only early this month that they dropped that demand, no doubt knowing that that was never going to happen. And they said then that they would only release him through negotiations. Of course, we've seen, as I said, the ambush a couple of weeks ago. Indonesia has tried to launch a couple of rescue operations. New Zealand has said more than once that they don't want Indonesia to try and launch any military operation because it will endanger the pilot and other people. They want to stop any further violence. So it still seems to be very much at an impasse. And it's hard to see just how this might be resolved or when.
Particularly as we know that the Indonesian authorities are not in any way going to concede to their demands.
No, that's right. They're absolutely not going to offer any kind of ransom. There have been sort of suggestions or rumours that perhaps the rebel group was asking for money and is hoping to get some sort of money or other, some kind of concession from the military. That seems to be hugely unlikely. So, as I say, there's just a complete stalemate here as to what each side wants and where they might be able to negotiate some sort of release for the pilot. I mean, without these rebels perhaps losing face and having to reveal that they got nothing in return for releasing him. But you have to wonder how long will they hold him before they realise they can't get anything from Indonesia.
And thanks very much for that update today.
Thanks, Bev.